Good afternoon, Dunkirk and Fredonia listeners, and welcome to News at Noon. News at Noon is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. I'm News Director Lee Pye here today with my news assistants Dan Quagliana, Sara Lodespoto, Joshua Ribakove, as well as Hunter Halterman and Sports Director Matt Volz. With this top-of-the-hour update, we'll bring you the latest on SUNY Fredonia's campus news and events, sports, weather, and music. First up, let's go to the event bulletin for this week. Join Hail Fredonia Records at your own risk for the Johnny Gruesome movie night. Grab snacks, participate in raffles, and get your very own Hail Fredonia Records trading card. Experience Johnny Gruesome yourself in the Williams Center MPR from 7 to 9:30 on October 14th. The campus community is invited to the interactive exhibit called Sip and Stroll, the Constitutional Amendments, located in the Reed Library. It asks participants to identify which constitutional amendments means the most to each person. Each student who visits and interacts can enter to win a $25 Starbucks gift card. This event is part of our Campus Constitution Day festivities, and is co-sponsored by the American Democracy Project and Reed Library support from Carnahan-Jackson Humanities Fund of the Fredonia College Foundation. This event is occurring from now until September 29th in the Reed Library. That's all we have for the grapevines this week. Let's bring it to Dan for our latest campus news updates.
Thanks, Lee. Last week, the U.S. News and World Report released their college rankings, where SUNY Fredonia was ranked 23rd in the top public universities in the North category. The News and World Report's North region includes almost 200 universities in New England, Delaware, Maryland, New York, and Pennsylvania. Fredonia has been included in the list's top 25 spots for what is now 34 consecutive years. In terms of both public and private universities, Fredonia claimed the 69th spot in the News and World Report's Best Regional Universities list. Fredonia's spot improved this year on the Best Value Universities in the North list, which ranks universities not only on academic quality, but also on the cost of attendance. On this list, Fredonia claimed the 55th spot, one of the best showings for a SUNY school. SUNY Fredonia President Stephen Collison said that, quote, SUNY Fredonia continues to provide a world-class education, and I am very proud that U.S. News and World Report continues to recognize the university's assets. Fredonia's consistently high rankings are a testament to the hard work and passion of our students and the dedication of our renowned faculty and staff, unquote. Last Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Fredonia Radio Systems hosted their 20th annual Rockin' the Commons event, where 9 different musical acts held an outdoor concert in Barker Commons to raise money for Roswell Park. Through selling food, CDs, raffle tickets, and other items, FRS was able to raise over $1,400 to donate to cancer research, which was far more than the just over $1,100 total from last year. Also tabling at the event were Fred Groves and Psychology Club, 2 on-campus clubs providing even more activities at the event. Fredonia Radio Systems General Manager Hunter Halterman said that, quote, it was an excellent turnout and everyone involved did an amazing job, unquote. Nominations for Student of the Month are closing on September 29th. Every month, the Student of the Month Committee and the Office of Residence Life seek nominations from faculty, staff, and students for the Student of the Month Award, which is aptly given out every month. The committee looks for students who not only succeed academically, but also contribute in a meaningful manner to the campus community. Particularly welcome are nominations of students who, according to Marketing and Communications, quote, embody and or intentionally support the campus in honoring diversity, enhancing wellness, and promoting career readiness, unquote. The student who wins the award will also win a certificate, lunch at Cranston Marché with their nominator, a $20 gift card to the bookstore, and a biographical article published in the campus report. Their name will also be placed on a plaque in the Res Life office. Nominated students need to have been at Fredonia for longer than 1 year, and they don't need to live on campus. Nominations may be submitted through a form that can be found on the Res Life website. Now let's take it back to the host.
Thanks, Dan. Next up, we have local news. Kathy Hochul announced that $7.4 million in federal funding was given to local emergency management agencies in New York State to help prepare for disaster responses. The funding, amid administered by New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, ended on giving Chautauqua County over $49,000 and Cattaraugus County over $32,000. If you live in the town of Sheridan, chances are that you are aware of the Strasser Road and West Sheridan Road being closed since July because of the bridge on West Sheridan collapsing from the support beams giving out. The most recent town board meeting approved bids to replace the culverts on Chapin Road and West Sheridan Road, though it is still undecided when they will completely fix the roads at this point. Governor Kathy Hochul announced that Environmental Facilities Corporation Board of Directors approved an amount of money for the water infrastructure improvement projects across the state. A hefty $185 million was directed towards it, with $94.7 million in short-term financing for startup on the said projects. Cherry Creek specifically was awarded a $1,573,000 for the planning and construction of sanitary sewer and wastewater improvements at the town pollution control facility. That's it for your local news update. Let's take it to the sports guy, Matt Volz.
Thanks, Lee. Well, Fredonia's men's soccer team had a tough SUNYAC home opener on Saturday, falling to Cortland by a final score of 7-0. In total, the Blue Devils were outshot 25-4 and were held without a single shot on goal. The loss dropped their record to 4-2-3. They will return to play on Wednesday as they travel to Buffalo to take on Buff State at 7 p.m. The women's soccer team also faced Cortland on Saturday, with this game being played in Cortland. Also, like the men's team, Fredonia fell by a final score of 7-0. Total shots in the game were 25-12 in favor of Cortland, and Cortland led the way in shots on goal, 13-4. The loss dropped Fredonia's record to 3-4-1. They will return home on Wednesday for a 6 p.m. matchup with Buff State. The volleyball team was in Houghton over the weekend for a Saturday doubleheader. In the first game against Houghton, the Blue Devils narrowly lost the first two sets before rallying to win sets 3 and 4, ultimately falling in the fifth set. In the second game against Alfred State, Fredonia won the first set 25-20, but then lost 3 straight close sets to fall 3-1. The losses dropped their overall record to 2-11. They'll be back at home on Friday to take on New Paltz at 6 p.m. The women's tennis team was off this weekend. They will return to action on Wednesday at 5 p.m. as they host Damon. And the men's and women's cross-country teams were also off this weekend. They continue to prepare for the Cara Hall Memorial Invitational, which will be held on campus this Saturday. In NFL news, the Miami Dolphins put on a show on Sunday, scoring a mind-blowing 70 points in a rout of the Denver Broncos. It marked the third most points ever scored in an NFL game, and their 726 yards of total offense is the second most ever in a game. Miami also became the first team with 5 passing touchdowns and 5 rushing touchdowns in a single game. The Dolphins will travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills next Sunday. Sunday also saw a few notable upsets, including the Texans dominating Jacksonville 37-17, and the Colts without starting quarterback Anthony Richardson shocking the Ravens 22-19 in overtime. The Buffalo Sabres opened their preseason with a 4-3 shootout win over the Washington Capitals on Sunday. After falling behind 2-0 in the second period, Buffalo battled back to tie the game and later take the lead on a goal by rookie first-round pick Zach Benson. After the Capitals tied it late, Buffalo prevailed in the third round of the shootout on a backhand goal by Brandon Biro. The Sabres will return to KeyBank Center tomorrow night at 7 p.m. as they host the Boston Bruins. Buffalo's regular season begins on Thursday, October 12th, when they host the New York Rangers at 7 p.m. And lastly, the Buffalo Bills put on a dominant performance on Sunday, defeating the Washington Commanders 37-3 at a rain-soaked FedEx Field. The Bills' defense was stellar all day, sacking Washington quarterback Sam Howell 9 times and forcing 5 turnovers. Second linebacker Terrell Bernard stole the show with a team-high 7 tackles, 2 of them for a loss, 2 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Bernard is the first player since Bears Hall of Fame linebacker Brian Urlacher in 2007 to record 2 sacks, an interception, and a fumble recovery in a single game. The win improved Buffalo's record to 2-1. They've got a huge game next week as they play host to the high-flying Miami Dolphins on Sunday at 1 p.m. That's all for your sports update. Let's bring it to Sara for the weather.
Now, here is your Northern Chautauqua weather update brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems.
Good afternoon, and let's start. This afternoon is cloudy with a high of 73. There'll be some rain throughout the day. However, later tonight, expect more rain. Wear your cozy pajamas since it's a chilly low of 56. Like today, tomorrow will be a high of 73 with a lot of clouds. Luckily, no precipitation is expected. The clouds will stay for the night with a low of 52. I don't know about you guys, but I will be taking advantage of the weather to get some work done. That's it for your 2-day weather. Keep listening. I'll be back with the rest of your 5-day forecast. For now, let's take it back to Lee for our local music update.
Last Call Entertainment is presenting 2 bands, Asteroid Day and Dog and Stereo, and a solo acoustic artist, Puddle, on Wednesday, September 27th. Jam out at BJ's, located at 51 West Main Street. Doors are at 9 p.m. and music is at 10 p.m. And if you're trying to find a weekend event, swing on over to Main Street Studios at 50 West Main Street, Fredonia, for a Fish Out of Water production, who is hosting Alexander Prill, Cowboy Manny, and Jelly Cypher. For this event, it's on September 29th. Doors are at 7 p.m. and music is at 8 p.m. That's all I have for music this week. Let's bring it to Josh for national and international news.
The Writers Guild of America, responsible for thousands of scripts that reach the big screen through Hollywood, has been on strike for 5 months now. However, the Guild has now reached a tentative agreement with studios, a minimum basic agreement, or MBA, that may see writers return to work soon. The Writers Guild of America, or WGA, and the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or AMPTP, have been working together to write a contract to remedy the strike since the summer. In an official bulletin written on the WGA website, it is stated, quote, "What we have won in this contract, most particularly everything we have gained since May 2nd, is due to the willingness of this membership to exercise its power, to demonstrate its solidarity, to walk side by side, to endure the pain and uncertainty of the past 146 days." End quote. The Guild explicitly mentions that writers are not to return back to work unless they have specific authorization from the MGA, as staff are still working to make sure everything they have agreed to has been codified into the contract. Screenwriters have been demanding higher pay, and they expect residuals when their work is played on streaming services. Today, Sicilian mafia boss Matteo Messina Denaro died in a hospital after decades of life on the run. He was known as Italy's #1 fugitive and had spent 30 years eluding capture in western Sicily, according to Italian state radio. It was his need for colon cancer treatment that inevitably brought him to capture in January of this year. Throughout his time as a fugitive on the run, Denaro has been tried in absentia and convicted of dozens of murders and for having planned a bombing that killed Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino in 1992, the leading anti-mafia prosecutors in Italy. He had also received a life sentence for the kidnapping and murder of the 12-year-old son of a mafia turncoat whose body was found strangled and dissolved in acid. Matteo was the mastermind of the Cosa Nostra Mafia, and he made it clear to prosecutors that he would not cooperate in sharing their mafia secrets. Messina Denaro fell into a coma on Friday and passed away at 2 a.m. on Monday. State radio alleges that his death also means the death of many mafia secrets, as the mob boss died at age 61. He told the investigators that caught him that in recent years he had mostly been hiding in plain sight, going about his day-to-day life as, quote, "a tree in the midst of a forest," end quote. Last night, an assailant attacked the Cuban embassy in Washington, D.C. with 2 Molotov cocktails. Cuba's foreign minister, Bruno Rodriguez Parrilla, posted on X, quote, "In the evening of today, September 24th, the Cuban embassy in the U.S. was the target of a terrorist attack by an individual who launched 2 Molotov cocktails. The staff suffered no harm. Details are being worked out," end quote. This attack occurred only hours after Cuba's leader, Miguel Diaz-Canel, returned to the authoritarian-ruled country after a meeting with the United Nations in New York. The embassy has only been reopened for 8 years now after the 2 countries cut ties in 1961. Rodriguez warns that such terrorist attacks occur when anti-Cuban groups feel impunity, after another terrorist attack had occurred in 2020. And that's all for your national and international news. Let's send it back to Sara with the rest of our weather.
Hiya, and I'm back with the weather. Starting off with Wednesday, it'll be a high of 71 with some light clouds. That night, it'll be cloudy and drop to 49 degrees. Thursday has some clouds and a high of 69. Watch out later in the evening, though. There'll be a lot of rain. There'll be a low of 53, though. That night, that rain will clear up, and Friday will be partly cloudy with a high of 71. In the night, expect the same clouds with a low of 50. I like how we're barely getting into the cold weather, and I'm already missing summer. Totally not prepared. That's it for your 5-day forecast. Let's take it right back to Lee.
That'll wrap up today's edition of News at Noon. Campus news is written and read by Dan Quagliana. Local news for this broadcast is prepared by Lee Pye. Weather is presented by Sara Lodespoto. Sports is presented by Matt Volz. Music is prepared by Lee Pye. National and international news is prepared by Joshua Ribakove. And finally, board operations for this broadcast are performed by Hunter Halterman. Thanks for tuning in to News at Noon. Join us every Monday and Wednesday at 12 p.m. on WCVF 88.9 and WDVL 89.5. From all of us at Fredonia Radio Systems, have a wonderful day.